is now going on. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. And welcome to Sitting Around at Home, episode 2. This is going to be good. Today, I have a special guest, Mr. Dave Hause, coming on. And as soon as he clicks in, I will click him over. And here we go. We got some special ones today. It's going to be good. So I am very excited. There's people that are requesting to be in there that are not my friend Dave, and we are going to ignore them. Cool. Here we go. We are waiting for Mr. Dave's connection. There he is.
Hey, buddy.
How are you?
I'm well, man. How's your Easter?
My Easter?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, it's Easter. I hid some eggs. The bunny came by.
I did too.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's better.
Did
than
they like it?
You know.
Yeah, better than not having it. Did the kids like running around?
Yeah, I mean they don't. I just placed maybe 5 or 6 in the front.
Yeah, it's
front on, and they were like, they were filled with wonder.
As they should be. As they should be.
Yeah.
There's you got to get more eggs as they get older. I'll just give you a little tip.
More eggs and probably more sugar inside the eggs. We put like those yogurt, very healthy inside the eggs.
Many more sugars.
Right. So
very good.
Yeah, that's what.
Well,
that's
how you doing?
I'm good, man. I don't know. This is crazy, but we have our health, and right now the kids are 15 months, so getting to spend all day concentrated as a dad is kind of great.
Yeah. Yeah.
We lost 3 shows and for probably all of May and June.
Yeah.
So we didn't get hit as hard as some. So I mean, I guess I'm just enjoying chasing them around. It keeps my mind off it. I don't have time to watch the news that much. I have maybe an hour to fix it, and I'm worn out by the end of the day because they're each running in 2 different directions, and that's about it. It hasn't hit us. So in that way, we're really fortunate, and I'm just kind of going with the dad program, as you can see.
I can see the dad program. You got your Wi-Fi connected? You're a little fuzzy.
I do, yeah. Let's
see if you got that thing. It's a little bit fuzzy. It's better now when you clicked in.
Yeah. Let me see if
that's a world better.
Okay, perfect. Let me shut this other device so it doesn't soak up any of the goodness.
You gotta kill all devices for this thing. It's heavy internet days. You know what I mean? Lots of people trying to grab our internet.
I turn the stove off. Everything's off. So except
dial up AOL. You got to get that thing. So that's the thing. So we're here to do songs. And what do you think? You wanna get to this?
I saw your first episode. I loved it. I love Lily. She's terrific. And you did a great job.
She's a saint.
Cool idea. This is
she's a saint.
Yeah.
She did the thing.
I want to know something. I want you to know that I made a few requests.
Okay.
Of you, so hopefully the songs you play are my requests.
Yes. You know how I do with requests.
Exactly.
50-50. I figure I worked real hard to get this thing. I played in a lot of dumps, so I feel dealer's choice. But I'm also a benevolent receiver of those things, especially from a friend like you.
It's always dealer's choice. That doesn't even need to be said. But if you choose my songs that I'm hoping you're going to play and everyone's thrilled, I'm going to take a little credit.
You know what? I'll say that this one I'm going to start out with. I'm coming in hot, burning like the metal on the edge of the knife, or whatever Meatloaf says.
Red hot.
So here's the deal. So I'll tell you about this song before I play it. As soon as I play it, I think people will figure out what it is. But when I was doing this song, I was jammed up in a hotel room, and I knew that we were on tour, and I hate writing on tour because it's chaos all the time.
Yep.
So always chaos. But I would flip open the laptop, and I made a deal with myself. I said, if you can write one verse a night, you'll get to this. You'll finish this song.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened to be that we were on the Revival tour, and I was working and working and working, kicking myself, and I go up in this church that we played in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah,
And I went up into the high tower to try and get closer to the Lord, maybe get some blessings down.
Yeah.
And I sat there, penning, scribbling away, frustrated as can be. But when I came downstairs, I thought I had some skeleton of a song that I think I showed you and said, what do you think of this, right?
This was a big turning point for me, because that whole tour was such an amazing experience for me, because I had just put out my first solo record.
Yeah.
And I was partying, having a great time, and too good a time, really. And I remember being sat in the lounge, drinking a bottle of Jameson, carrying on, and you were up there every night, slaving away in the back of the bus, every day.
Well, I was afraid.
No, I think you were at work and you were doing a good job of you had a major label record about to come out, and
Yeah.
I was clowning around, and you came down and said, hey, do you want to hear a new song? And I said, sure. What are you, writing songs? You should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And you played this song for me, and I was like, I got to get off this booze. I got to figure something out. It's a great.
Well, thank you. I had to do it. I felt the pressure, though. This was a lot of people say, I always hear people say, you can't write out of pressure. You got to write out of your emotions. But what I think is that the emotions are there from us being kicked around since birth. Yep. You know what I mean? They're always there. So I think that if you can get down like the old construction way of something, you can't call in Monday and be like, I got writer's block. I can't put up the wood today. Like, that's not happening.
No.
So with this song, it was a lot of push, but let's see what it sounds like. I never played it on the piano before. Let's find this out.
I'm thrilled.
Here we go. All right. Song 1. Here we go. This is for Dave Hause. You can hear this? Stay the same, don't ever change, 'cause I miss your ways. With your Betty Davis eyes and your mama's party dress. As the city pumps its aching heart, one more drop of blood. Work our fingers down to dust, and we wait for Kingdom Come, the radio on. I wanna see you tonight. Would you come for a drive? You can lean in me if you ain't, oh, if you ain't been in love for a while. I was born beside a river, flows to a raging sea. That one day served to quell, one day be death to me. In my faded jeans and faraway eyes, salty carnival kiss. All my former lovers say was once magnificent. I wanna see you tonight. Would you come for a drive? You can lean into me if you ain't, oh, if you ain't. I wanna see come for a drive. You can lean into me if you ain't in love for a while. To the city pump, aching heart, one more drop of blood. Work our fingers down to dust. Wait for kingdom come with the radio on. So long, May, so long. It's been so long, May, so long. Since the radio's on.
Beautiful.
All right, there we are.
Beautiful.
Dave Haas request. We did it. We did it. We did it.
Song. What a great song.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good work.
So what now do you do? Now you all the carrying on is gone. Good guy. You got kids, family, sober guy. You got all this clear heading. I feel like that's got to help you write. How do you feel?
Well, it was helping me write, but the kids came. That's why I wanted to get that record out last year. I knew if I waited, I mean, the most important thing right now for me is to be a good dad. And
Yeah.
When I have the time to do that, when I'm home, I'm very focused on that. So writing has taken a little bit of a back, but
Sure.
doing it the same way I'm always collecting. You know, I got my antenna up, and I'm trying to. And later is when I sit down and really try to find. I sift through everything I got, my melodies and my lyric file and so on, and then get to work. And that work's about to start for me. Like, I think I was planning on doing that later here, but I think with this break, I'm gonna try to dig in another couple weeks. But my routine is really boring. Like, up early, hang with kids, try to play guitar every day, try to work a little bit on songs every day, and try to get to bed early. You know, it's really the flip of what I used to do. It's not that.
That's the thing though. Like, I mean, everybody has that thing. They write, and then they have the family, and then the writing goes. The time gets really short. Yes. But what I found with that is that, sometimes you learn. This is some advice that I got, that you can learn to be. You learn to be creative automatically in very short bursts. That was what I found. Did you find that?
I think so, yeah. I think it's, jobs always expand and contract to fill the time that you've allotted. So if you give yourself a month to finish a song, it's going to take you a month. If you give yourself a couple hours, like, that's the thing about pressure. I mean, I think that if I didn't have pressure, I wouldn't write, because, something you said to Lily last week made me kind of sad. And you were like, you talked about the song Blue Jeans and White T-Shirts. Yeah. And you said, I wrote this before there was Twitter, and I wrote this before there were eyes on me. And it's a great song, and it's really honest and pure. And I think that when we get what we wanted, which is for people to start listening, it can really mess with your head. And you can really start to go like, oh, what do I do? And I think that if you can get to that pure spot at any point, that's when you're like, okay, I got to go to work right now. I'm getting the antennae are up. That's a good idea. I'm going to chase that down. And we just don't have as much time as we did back then, So I feel that. but you're right. It's short bursts, and it's like, that's why I think for me it's a lot about collecting. It's like if I hear something and I'm like, that's a good line, or that's a good thought, or that's a good song, I try to rip that off, or whatever. You know?
Yeah, totally.
I
But
make a
that's the thing. And I think that you can, as you get older too, the one thing is too, you're spending all your day with your family, and now you're connecting all the time. So when you go to writing, you're going to be plugged in. You're dialed into connection. You're grounded right to the earth.
Like vulnerability. That's the thing. Like you can tap into it easier because you're terrified that your favorite thing is going to get hurt.
Right.
Now, the thing that I found is really peculiar though is performing. Like when I spend all my time with my family, I don't think about myself as much. And to some degree, like playing live, you have to have some level of ego. You have to be like, I'm going to bring you to the promised land, whatever that thing is. You know?
Yeah.
And the first show going back after, I took like 4 months off. Tim and I took 4 months off at the end of last year, and we came back and did those churches in Europe. And the first night I was like, how do I do this? Like, my kids need help. I don't know how to do this. And it's because I didn't spend as much time in that, like, it's all about me kind of head. And I like that. So the performing part, I think, is harder for me to kickstart so far. But they've only been here for 15 months. So it's like a learning process.
Totally. It'll come back in. That's what the fans are there for. They charge you back up.
They do. Yeah. They're fired up. And then you just let it rip. Yeah, I got back on the horse pretty quick. But the first night I was a little like, how do you do this?
Yeah, but you're pro. I saw that. I was following. Every time you're on tour, I follow along. And I go, shows look good. It went pretty good.
I do the same thing, man. And by the way, I think everyone should do a cheer in the comments that you're the #1 album 2 weeks in a row, Americana UK chart.
Yeah. This is good stuff. This is good. It's a win for everybody. We're getting in. We're getting in.
That's it. Listen, so everyone knows when we first met in 2008, the Loved Ones took Gaslight Anthem on tour. And Brian and I talked endlessly about the idea of, we're punk or whatever, punk bands, but we want to be regarded as songwriters.
Yes.
We want to take songwriting seriously. And we talked about bands like the Drive-By Truckers and Hold Steady and Bright Eyes and things like that. And then obviously all the big ones from the 70s and 60s and stuff. But it's taken a long time. But we kind of are doing the thing that we hoped to do all those years ago.
I know. Yeah, we're doing it. we're digging. We're digging.
Yeah, we're playing quietly and people know the words. And I'm like, I thought about that when we were going to do this. I was like, that was a conversation we had so long ago. And to kind of be there and be like, we did it. We climbed it seems like the hill still has some, we have a little more to climb.
Yeah, many rungs.
Many rungs. but man, it's a nice feeling to be like, oh, people started to listen after all this time, right? It's a nice feeling.
But I got to say, I think the true secret is you know this, and you and I both, because we share a lot of the same group of people, that we've been fortunate with the people that are following us and like our music, that we have the best kind of people, because they're just music fans and they're sold in. They bought the thing.
They did, yeah. And it's nice to be able to take them on whatever journey we want.
Yeah. So what journey you got for me?
Okay, I'm going to play a song. You said the nicest compliment about this song I've ever gotten about a song. I showed you this song before we recorded the last record, and you were like, all of us have been trying to write a Tom Petty song.
Oh, yes.
But you actually did it. And I was like, I did?
Yeah, you did, though. You did. And
Tim and I did. But I was so thrilled to get that message. And so this song's called Saboteurs.
I love this.
In the morning glow, I'll hold you close while lunatics clutch the nuclear codes, take their tolls on burning roads while we huddle here over the radio. We'll meet there soon, the vestibule, ivory tower, our rusted tools. Right these wrongs, our crippled throng. It's not too late to play the weak and strong. Hey, you want it, baby, let's be saboteur. Take them down from the inside. Baby, let's be saboteur. I'm not gonna change my mind. To the poison hole, to the undertow, kick against the tide. Baby, let's be saboteur. Baby, let's be saboteur. I'm not gonna change my mind. Toe the line, be the victim of another victimless crime. Let's make this pact, it's one we can't take back. Our master stroke will be their heart attack. Hey, you want it, baby, let's be saboteur. Take them down from the inside. Baby, let's be saboteur. I'm not gonna change my mind. The poison glow, the undertow, kick against the tide. Baby, let's be saboteurs. Baby, let's be saboteurs. Hey, yeah. I'm not gonna change my mind. Baby, let's be saboteurs. Take them down from the inside. Baby, let's be saboteurs. I'm not gonna change my mind. The poison glow, the undertow, we kick against the tide. Baby, let's be saboteurs. Baby, let's be saboteurs. Baby, let's be saboteurs. Baby, let's be saboteurs. Saboteurs.
Yes, that's the one. As soon as I heard that I was fortunate enough to have heard the demo of that song, Dave just sent it over and said, "What do you think?" And as soon as I heard you go, "Baby, let's be saboteurs, take them down from the inside," I was like, dude, I'm like, that is Tom, like that is the best, like Tom Petty quality chorus line I'd ever heard. And you know, like that's the best one. Like everybody knows, like I love Bruce. I love Bruce,
Yeah.
diehard Bruce. Like, you know, salute. Yes, always. He's everywhere. Let's be honest.
That's
But
right.
but I will say though that the greatest like just like single line closest, like if you know, I can't compare him to like the English bands, but like Tom Petty has this other thing where he tapped into the one line chorus, like boom, you know, like Bruce has got a lot of words. He tells Bruce's strength is in storytelling and his live shows. But Tom had the song. Tom could have been wearing a bag over his head, and the song just would sweep you. And I think that's what I was saying is like you caught that line with it's the mixture of the line and the melody all together. It just made me like, whoa. And I don't think any of our group, you know, I think that there's been many great songs written by our groups, but like our group of friends, you know, But that one in particular, I felt got the closest to the Tom Petty thing that I admire.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, he's always the guiding light. I mean, obviously, both of those guys, so many.
Sure.
But yeah, that's why I was like, well, I got that text back. I was like, yes, okay, all right.
Well, for me, like I could never do that like that well. So like for me, the I found comfort in like the more Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, wordy, like basically create a movie and insert music, you know, and that was my whole vibe. But that is like, that's a thing that, you know, is 1 in a million, and it's really cool. And it's so cool. It was in billions, you know, it's really cool.
The trip.
That's the best, dude.
Yeah. I love managers texting me and stuff.
Oh yeah, hey, how you doing? I saw you in billions.
Yeah. Well, no, they were all cool, but it was like, I hope you got some college fund for your. I was like, yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
You're professionals.
That was amazing, man. Like, I mean, I like the show, so it's a rare thing to get a placement when you play rock and roll in the first place.
Yeah.
But to get one in a show that you admire, and you know, Brian Koppelman loves writing, and he just happened to tweet one day. He goes, "My weekend playlist is Bob Dylan, Dave Hause, and somebody else." And I was like,
I think it wasn't it Craig Finn? Didn't he say Craig Finn? Might have been Craig Finn. Yeah.
I direct messaged him. I said, "Hey, I made a new record that I haven't announced. Do you want to hear it?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he ended up like a couple days later, he emailed me and was like, "I'm rewriting the end of an episode of Billions to include Saboteurs." I was like,
"That's awesome." I love this.
And watch, you know, to watch it with my little babies asleep in the other room with Tasha, and I watched it, and I was like, I kind of cried. I was like,
"Of course you did."
I was like, "This is incredible." So yeah, that was a real treat, man.
This is amazing. Amazing. I love this.
Cool.
So I'm going to take you on this next one. This is the one that I think that I get requested this all the time. I have never done this like I've only done it maybe once or twice, like ever. So
different life.
Yeah, like there's maybe 1 or 2 performances of it ever. So, and it's because it's like a difficult thing to pull off. I don't know. It's just like it was a hard song to record. Strangely an easy song to write, but it was difficult to record. And it was one of those ones that I was just like, how am I going to ever do this like live? I don't know if this is going to work. And, you know, the one time it worked out okay, and it was during the Horrible Crows record. So, you know, which was for me was like a Xanax of the soul during that time, you know, because I was like, I was scared, really, you know, the whole thing. Like when the thing gets, you know, the thing, it's scary, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think for you guys though, it came on so. I mean, it didn't come on fast in terms of like. I mean, you worked and worked and worked, but when it hit, it went from like, we're gonna play some shows with the Bouncing Souls.
Yeah.
God knows what, you know.
Yeah.
Playing, you know, with the Killers and like it went huge, and that's definitely that's the pressure, you know. That's the hard part of the pressure. The good part of the pressure is, hey, you have to go work so you can eat, make these songs, and the hard part is like, oh, wow, there's a lot of people listening.
Yes.
How do I do this right? And this record, man, I remember you had put this record out right before that revival tour, and
right.
I heard the songs that you played live, but I didn't know about this song till I got home.
Right.
And I ended up going through my divorce then. And that's the song I was like, uh-oh. You know, like, it like tapped into some of that stuff where I was like, I gotta get out of here. And
it's a tough one. It was written about so this is funny that like, so I wrote it about like the first like time I got really like dissed by a relationship, like cold blood, you know, and I was like, wow, I was like, that really, I don't know how to like recover from that. So it was like that whole thing. But then I decided to try and like imagine it, you know, as if it was like everything about that record was sort of gearing up to trying to learn to write stories that weren't, you know, like where the incident happened and then you create the movie. So that's when I was sort of learning that. But this one was, I was proud when this one was over, and like I'm glad to have it. So I'm gonna bring it out, and you know, I think that hopefully this is another Dave Haas request. So we'll do we'll do this one. This here we go. It's called Blood Loss. My first love was an arsonist, black eyes, deep set in avarice, red lips, built like a tomb. You'll never get out of this. Someday I'll see to this. Moonlight I found would bow to a tender hand stretched out, fingers inside your heart and your mind. Things never got better. I'll call you later. Don't get your heart and your mind. You'll never get out of this. Someday I'll see to this, boy. And I'll tell you when it's over. Tell you when you can leave. Tell you when you cry long enough. Your blood fills my cup. Your footsteps they hung and you're always enough for you to be truly haunted, baby, by me. And my first love was a murder before I ever got to tongue so sharp and serpentine walks to remember her. I'll call you later. And I heard a curse being born, forming each finger and forming each thorn, till I became like a storm. Things never got better. I'll call you later. And practicing rise to drip like red wine off her lips. I'll tell you when it's over. I'll tell you when you can leave. Tell you when you cry long enough. Your blood fills my cup. My footsteps they hung. You're always enough for you to be truly haunted. I'll tell you when it's over. Tell you you can leave. I tell you when you cry long enough till your blood fills my cup. And my footsteps they hum and you're always enough for you to be truly haunted. When your blood counts its losses. Counts its losses. And the sirens they come, the sirens they leave, the sirens they come, and the sirens they leave, the sirens they come, the sirens they leave, and the sirens they come, and the sirens leave.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wild. It's good times. It's good times to write about this. I feel like it's good to like dig these old ones out and kind of do the thing. One thing I'm learning is during these things, I mean, we've only done, this is the second show. So thank you everybody for watching this, sitting around at home, which is great. But for me, it's something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to talk. You know, we've been on tour a lot. And all I want to talk about is process, song process. How do you do it? What do you do when you get jammed up? So have you found things that you are like, if I get jammed up, this is what I do?
Yeah, I have. I mean, there's a book that Corey Brannon gave me when I first toured with him, 2011, that Paul Zollo wrote, Songwriters on Song. And I'll send it to you. that book is basically a deep dive into exactly what you're talking about, that this guy did with all the greats. So Paul Simon's in there, and Alanis Morissette, and I mean every Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, and that is the one that always, because he talks about it in the way that makes the most sense. He's like, you're like a nun. You're married to a music, and and you're sort of in service to that all the time. And that's the way I think about it. It's hard,
Yeah.
It's hard to do well. It's hard to edit, and not over edit. There's
Right.
about it, like to stay in the lane, in the proper part of the stream of consciousness. So I go to that book, and then I kind of try to go back to my touchstones. Patty Griffin's a big one. Brandy Carlisle.
Patty Griffin, man, big fan. Did you say Brandy Carlisle too?
Yeah.
Great songwriter. Great.
I think for me, getting away from masculine energy is really helpful. Like spend time with feminine energy, especially in songwriting, helps me go sort of deeper into the vulnerability of what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to dig in, and it's not supposed to feel that that comfortable,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they just come, and they're great, and they're easy, and those ones, you just have to be thankful. But it is work, and I get jammed. I kind of go to those and listen to what they're doing and try to determine, like, okay, well, how can I apply that?
I get that. It's funny, like all the songs that I ever learned, like it's funny that you say that, like getting away from like masculine energy, because everything I ever learned about songwriting, I mean, like my story, like I grew up, it was just me and my mom. So for a long time. So like my formative like development was all with just my mom. But but she was also the I didn't have like a brother or a sister growing up. So she like took both places where she showed me all of the cool music. Like she was like, look, here's my tape collection. Here's my little tape case. It's in my closet. Anytime you need to grab it, just grab it, and whatever. And so like I had this like duality of being explained songs by her from her perspective, and also just like the constant influx of like this music that she found touching, which I will say that my mom's taste, especially now that I'm reflecting and I'm older, that like she wasn't like, there were no AC/DC tapes in my mom's collection, which like I like AC/DC, it's fine, but you can see how, where if you look at like this kind of songwriting that we go for, like you can see that kind of thing where it was always, Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, thoughtful people, it wasn't just like arbitrary. Like my mom didn't have, I don't know, like Sly and the Family Stone is cool, but my mom didn't have that. Like that's not what she was. She was always like looking into the, how do I get in here, and that's a great lessons. I carried that my whole life.
Yeah, it's important to. I mean, all this stuff is so formative, and I think that again, like to sort of go back to the earlier talking about, I am really proud that, because I mean, I worked for Sick of It All. I worked for the Bouncing Souls. Like I played in hardcore bands. And to kind of be here, in my 40s, and be playing a guitar and singing about like very vulnerable stuff, and not have like those guys in Sick of It All text me and be like, great show or great record, some degree, like we've been able to carry that flag forward, for like, because it's so much of that punk thing.
Yeah.
Can be frustrating, but I think like hopefully we've added some layer of or contributed to the, like a positive and less like aggressive version of it or something. I don't know.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's the thing that you kind of just you do, like when you have the right influences, it all just comes out naturally, which is cool. So I think that it's like a thing that we're both close to, like we both have a high regard for the motherly figures in our lives. So like it's a big thing, and and I don't know, and it's cool. So it's good to see.
So what else you got here? Tell us about another one.
Natasha just said talk louder, which she'll never say that again for the rest of our lives. This will be the only time she ever tells me to talk louder.
Talk louder, yeah. Hey man, you also too, like, you might want to, like, I know, like, you probably got like dial up AOL over there, but you gotta like get like you gotta get like wireless. It's got to go faster. Now it's coming in way clearer. It's
like when I lift it up, I'm gonna lift it up like Simba.
Oh, high as the heavens.
Yeah, and hope that'll help. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you look good from all angles. Don't worry about it.
Oh, come on, please. This is a song I wrote about my mom. And
I love
it. You also have said at different points, like, you helped move the ball with this one. It's an old loved one song. I never play it.
I know this.
I know it's one of the ones you love, and a lot of people obviously are losing very suddenly. They're losing people that they can't say goodbye to.
Yeah.
And so this song is for all those people. The song's called Sickening. We had it all worked out. We had the 10 years planned in advance. We had our hearts tricked. We worked it out, but then it all fell apart so fast. We watched the wires trip. The power surge, we had it ripped right out of our hands. Took her heart, wore her down. Wish that no one could win. Now we're here. It's so horrible. It's been today. She had her heart, she had it all worked out. She had 10 years planned in advance. He had his heart tricked, he worked it out. That they had years left of happy moments. But then on the needle, damage done. In the end, just less than a chance. They had their hearts tricked, power surged. They had it ripped right out of their hands. And now we're huddled here, naked, sore and alone. Can't see clear, clear. Just the thought of this is sickening. Live out all our years without you there. Just the thought of this sickening. Just the thought of this sickening. Sickening. We had our hearts tricked, we had it all worked out. We had the 10 years planned in advance. She had our hearts tricked, the power surged, it was ripped right out of our hands, all in advance.
Yes, that's the one. Love that.
Did you get that one on dial up, or did it work?
I did. Yeah, I think that, like, there's like there's probably like a more specific way. We're doing it on our phones, people. This is also episode 2. We're doing what we can. I can't mute anything. They're saying mute your mic. They're saying mute your mic. I can't mute my mic. There's not like a mute mic button here. And if there is, I don't know about it. And I'll tell you what. Yeah, now's not the time to do that. But I will tell you one thing. We're doing the best we can. So if you're having a little bit of a trouble finding it, or listening, just, bear with us. We'll get it better. They're saying maybe I should wear headphones. They're saying, do you think headphones would help?
I don't know. I mean, I saw Corey's wearing his little earpiece like he's in the FBI when he does his
yes, I have a little a wireless set. I will try that. I don't have it available to me right now, so there's nothing I can do. But I think what I'm going to do is, like, what I was trying to find is I'm covering up my mic when you're playing, and I turn down my screen volume. So, because I know your songs well enough to where I can hear, even if I hear a little bit, I know where you are in the song. So,
okay.
So it's good. But I think that this should be, you can hear me, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this should be, we're doing the best we can. So I hear you, but you don't have to constantly put the thing in, because I can't really do anything about it other than that. Because, like, there's a lot of it. Like, do this, do that, adjust this, adjust that. I'm like, well, you're giving me anxiety here because I don't know what I'm doing. So
yeah, a lot of engineers must be tuning in.
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of engineers tuning in on the iPhone speaker. Give us a break. We're trying to entertain you. We're quarantined. I can't run to the Target and fix this. So anyway, so we're going to keep going. So now, let me ask you, I mean, I'm not going to ask you any hard questions, and you can always blow me off if you don't want to answer one of them. But, like, so that, like, how do you sit down, like, how do you capture, like, that's tough stuff to write about. How do you sit down and say to yourself, I'm going to put my feelings down on paper and, like, not just, like, freeze, you know what I mean? Like, because I've run into that before where, like, I can't say the things.
Well, I mean, I think for me, in that instance, I was trying to write a love letter to my siblings. I have 3 sisters, as you know, and then Tim. And Tim was 11 when my mom died. And the Loved Ones had started. We had made an EP. And we're doing well and had some promise, like people seemed excited about the band. And then it was time to finish a full length. And it seemed to me like such a monumental loss would have been if I didn't, somehow commemorate that. It would have been like irreverent or something.
Yeah.
And so I just went all in. I was like, look, if they hear the lyrics and it's moving to my siblings, hopefully the rest of the people that might tune into this band will be touched by it. And I don't know, but you're right. It does take a certain amount of you got to put it out there. It's you got to be brave. I mean, you did it on the new record though. That first song about Layla is like brutal. It was
tough. But there was tears streaming when I was writing it, just tearing away.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we both kind of approach it in a similar way. It's hard work. It's hard to kind of cut back the layers of the onion. And, I'm busy listening to Brene Brown and all this kind of, these days. Yeah. But I think it's weird, though, because, like, friends of ours even, there's some of them that just write a song. They don't slave over it. I mean, Matt Skiba, he just writes a song. It's crazy.
Does he now?
He does. I think Chuck's the same way.
Okay, so
they go like, it's time to write a song, and they plink out their guitar and they write it down on a page, and that's it.
I will tell you something though, especially about Matt. So now Matt, I think, is the second in command for the closest. Like, he's like, he might even be tied with you. No disrespect, but he is got that petty thing too. In some of those songs that Matt has written, it's like otherworldly, man. Like, I'm talking like We've Had Enough, and those choruses, like some of those choruses, radio, like, where do you get it's some of those songs are so well crafted that it's like it's like they always existed. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's unreal. Yeah. But I love it. It's great. Talented.
He's crazy. I mean, I don't know how much he slaves over it. I haven't really seen his process, but I remember talking to Maddie, everyone out there, our friend Maddie, our mutual friend Maddie, prints our T-shirts, and he was talking about
all good printing.
Dogwood Printing. Yeah, Dogwood. Dogwig Printing. And he was talking. He's like, yeah, you and Fallon, but when I catch you guys in your writing, you guys are grinding. It's hard, And I'm like, he goes, that's the way you do it, though. That's what makes it good. I was like, yeah. Or you could be Skiba, who just does it.
Yeah, just comes out.
He's like, today's the day I'll write a song, and it's this crazy good song every time. I don't know.
That's nuts.
Everybody's process is different, but yeah, there's certain. I think Chuck's the same way. Like, I think he just is like, time to write a record. He gets out of the fishing boat.
Yeah.
And grabs a guitar.
He hammers it out.
Yeah.
One time Chuck and I sat down and we were sort of back and forth, like writing a song. Like he had most of it done, and he sort of said, he's like, come here, help me out with this. And like, he was just like, I was like, I'm not sure about that line. And he's like, what do you got? What do you got? Just say something. And I was like, well, how about this? He's like, yeah, that's good. Let's go. Keep going. And I was like, but then, and I would think like, maybe that wasn't so good. But then I would hear him play the song and I was like, oh, this song's awesome. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I guess it doesn't have to be hard. I don't know. Some people, they torture themselves. Some don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. The one commonality I've found is in Chuck, the Trio guys, and the Souls guys. They all got popular in their bands young. So what they were doing was collectively by their peers and by their fans, at a young age, they were told, you're doing good. And there's nothing like that. That probably you through a long period of your life. Whereas I think for both of us, we were closer to 30 when we started to like really write songs and really have a chance to hear them. And at that point, you've dealt with defeat a bunch, and you've been in bands that weren't good.
Right.
And perhaps that's the difference. I don't know. Like, I think, but I mean, it all really is about tapping in to that like consciousness river and trying to grab it.
Yeah. I feel that.
It's true. I mean, I've heard Jenny Lewis talk about it that way, that it's like the Prince and Michael Jackson thing, where it's like, if I don't get the fish, somebody downstream's going to get that fish.
Yeah.
And
I feel that.
I've had lyric ideas in my file that I've found, like, seen on other people's records that I never used, where I'm like, that was my idea. There's no way they could have stolen it. It was my fault,
Right.
I think there's some kind of like human consciousness river. I know this sounds trippy, but it's like, I think the Beatles were like obviously the most in there.
Yeah.
But I think that, there's a common way of speaking and a common way of like a collective feeling or whatever, that if you can pull out of that, you connect with people through songs. It's weird. It's weird. Some people really have it. And I mean, for me, it's harder to fish, I guess. I don't know.
I feel you.
Great at fishing. You just
I feel that.
Bare hands.
Yeah, you got to just jump in there, stick your hand in the song river, and grab a fish.
Yeah, that's what he does.
I know. Yeah, well, sometimes it works. I mean, I don't know. It's tough for me, but I don't know. You got to just do the thing, and then like hopefully it comes around. But
yeah, whatever gets it done. But yeah, I wish I had a way that always works. But I'm always looking for new ways. Like maybe I'll play a bass, or there's a 12-string. It's like maybe that'll unlock something.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always buying these new expensive guitars. It's because you might shake a song out of it.
Yeah, well, that's a thought. John Frusciante said the same thing. He's like, he said, I don't have like a large collection, but he said, every guitar that I've owned, I believe, was a step on the path of where I was going at the time. And if I didn't have that specific piece of like that pedal or that thing, and I'm not trying to encourage people to buy things, but he just would say that every piece that comes through your hands sort of affects your subconscious in a way.
I think there's something to that for sure.
Yeah. Someone asked if we know Patty Griffin. We're both giant Patty Griffin fans. So.
Yeah, I don't know her. I've met her a couple times, and honestly, like I was more freaked out meeting her the 2 times I met her than I was when I met Bruce Springsteen. Like Bruce Springsteen, kind of like meeting Grover or something from Sesame Street, like a character. I was like, serious? But Patty Griffin, I was weird. I remember like we had a mutual friend that introduced us in Central Park, and I was like, hi, she's like, hello, like I was weird because she's gotten so under my skin as a writer in like such pivotal points in my life that I mean,
It's,
not that Bruce Springsteen hasn't, but yeah,
of course,
I
of
only met her twice.
course.
Yeah,
That goes without saying. You don't have to say that anymore. It's all that everybody knows.
yeah,
It's
right.
like I don't know. I mean, I remember the first introduction I had to Patty Griffin was that song from the Elizabethtown soundtrack, "Long Ride Home."
Mm.
And I remember hearing that song and just like I had just gone to my grandmother's funeral recently. Yeah, so I heard that and I remember just stopping like for a night, at least a night, a couple hours, and just being like, how do you say that? Like, how did you get that? You captured the feeling perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, she's a great writer.
She's amazing. Yeah, great writer, great singer, and just like the kind of soul that you want to emulate. You know, the older I get, the less. And I think like our whole culture has gone through like maximum masculine overload. We have this idiot as the leader or whatever.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, if we just would listen to the women, we could get somewhere. And she's just one of those like guiding lights to me.
Agreed. It's something that just like always struck me is that any kind of writer that can like truly grasp the emotion in a song where you're listening to it, but it feels like she got in my head and was describing my feelings, even though she's describing her feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
There's very few people like that can do that. And sometimes like sometimes her voice helps, I think, a lot too. Like much like Tom Petty, like her voice, she could sell the phone book. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like it really just she's just got that connection. At least with my like her voice, as soon as I hear it, like I feel something.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things with Brandi Carlile. That's the thing with Adele, right? Like on a really global scale, is that she's got that instrument that delivers everything that she says. And I think, I mean, I guess maybe that's it. Maybe like when you have a regular old voice, you have to work harder at the song part or something. I don't know. I don't know
you definitely do. I don't know. It's just the way it is. Yeah. But, well, I'll play you a song now. I'll go into a song that I didn't, this is one of the ones I didn't have to, I guess I worked a little bit hard on, but not as much as some of the other ones. But it sort of fell like in my lap a little bit, which made me happy. Because I think it was coming at a time where I needed it to fall in my lap. Like I was working, this is when I was doing my first solo record, and I was working a lot. I was working with Butch Walker, and like we were working at a distance because he was in LA and I was in New Jersey, and then I was also on tour a lot. So I was having to catch him in between tours and send him like you were home for 2 weeks or whatever, and I'd have to send him whatever batch I just came up with. So I only had 2 weeks to come up with the next batch, or whatever. And so like, and I knew, and I was impressed. The one thing that I do well, like in my writing, is that if I have someone to impress, like I don't know, something like ignites and I work on a higher level. Yeah. So like I would always, I felt that way about Ted Hutt. I definitely felt that way about Brendan O'Brien. And for sure with Butch, I wanted to impress him, and I didn't want to like let him down. So, I tried to write these songs, and this one kind of came out easy, and I remember sitting down and just going, how do you feel? And I was like, I wish I wrote the conversation about a friend of mine, like almost like I was trying to comfort them, but also that I wished, I wish somebody would have with me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if this, I'm hearing that this may cut us off in 1 minute. If it does, I'll just restart and you jump back in. Okay. So, you know what I'm saying? So we'll just do this again. If it cuts off, it'll cut off. If it's going to cut off, it's going to cut off at 9. Then that's okay. We'll just hop right back on. So what I'll do is I'll end this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to end this and save it so that we don't lose this. And then we'll start again. So here we go. I'm going to end this, and then I'll go back on. Just log right back on.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Here we go. Saving it up.